All right, excellent. Very good. So let's talk about repurposing text tonight. It's the most common form of PLR. You are going to get it in form of, uh, you're going to get it in Word documents, you're going to get it in text files, you're going to get ebooks, you're going to get articles, and most of the time you will either use it as is or you'll do something with it that's probably close to the purpose for which you bought it. But text is very versatile, and we're going to talk about some of the things you can do with it tonight beyond the obvious things. And so, obviously, if you're going to be creating original content, the best thing you're going to do is to rewrite it or have it rewritten. And that's something that I know you already know. You may not necessarily want to do it all the time. You may either have it rewritten by someone, you may hire it out. It's pretty cheap to do that. It's not very cheap to get it done right. And even if you decide to have it rewritten, I'm going to really suggest that if you decide you're going to sell what you're going to be putting together, that you really do have somebody edit it, right, before you sell it. And I know there are a number of editors in our space, right? You want to get somebody who kind of knows what we do. And you want to get somebody who kind of knows what it would take to have your document turned into an ebook. Okay, so basically you get articles, you get an ebook. The best thing you can possibly do is to rewrite it or to have it rewritten. Obviously, that's not going to always be practical. One of the things that you can do, even if you decide to leave it as is, if you want to make it original, you could add in case studies and cite references. Now, there are certain, I guess, style points that you get if you cite it in a certain way. And these days, I don't know if it is as I'd say it's as definite that you have to use a certain standard like ALA or MLA or APA. I don't think you have to do that if you're selling your content, but I mean, it would certainly help. But you definitely need to be able to say that you got this content from someone else, that even though you did the research and you found it and you're paraphrasing it, that you did not write it. And that's probably going to be the most important thing. You need to state that openly, and anything that even looks like you got it from someone else, give that person the credit. And what that will do is that will keep you and that will guard you from making your whole document or the whole thing that you're selling just a compilation of things that you went and got from someone else and they did all the writing. You don't want to do that. It's pretty much as simple as somebody running it through Copyscape and seeing that you copied everything. Please do not do that, especially if you're going to sell it. And even if you're going to give it away, don't do it, because if you do that, it's not going to speak well of you if you want to sell it, right? So again, make it so that you really do get something original. Get case study information, cite references, and then at minimum, try to do it in a way that you're at least, I guess, restating or paraphrasing. Now, let's say that you are the one that actually goes to get the information and you get the case study, or you get the people to kind of give you the content. Well, then you can use that content verbatim. And that's probably going to be the most high, that's where you're going to add the most quality to anything that you buy. If you go and you buy a PLR ebook and it's going to be on Facebook, the very best thing that you can do is to get actual case studies. It's to get real information from real people, from stuff that really happened. And you can go and get that information probably exclusively and make it so that it really is the information that you went and got. It really is something that you went to write. And what you want to try to do when you do this is you want to get people one step removed from the actual event. For example, if I were to go and I were to get case study information, let's say about local economies, I would want to try to get an author who wrote about local economies and interview them. Why would I want to do that? Number one, I'll tell you why. They have an incentive to give you accurate information they have an incentive to give you information that's going to be credible because they know you're going to send people back to something that they've already written. You're going to say in your document that, hey, you know what, I talked to the author of Cities on Fire, and here's what they said about local economies. And you're going to write that in. And you can almost quote that person verbatim if you have a conversation with them. If you go and you get their book, or you go and you get their article and you lift that information directly from the article and you put it in your document, that's plagiarism, right? But if you talk to them and you get it from them and you restate it, or even if you take it verbatim and you put it in your document, that's your content. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand the difference? If you're going to go get case study information, so that's why you tend to want to try to get someone that's one step removed from the actual event. Let's say that you were going to do a case study, I don't know, on Enron, right? You're going to do something on the Enron crisis. Well, do you want to go and get people who were actually involved? Well, maybe that would be cool, but they wouldn't necessarily have an incentive to talk to you and to give you good information. The people who are going to give you the best information are going to be people who wrote about that, because you're going to refer people to their article. You're going to tell them that before they give you the information. So one step removed from the actual event. Get someone in that's one step removed who's written about it already. And if they've written about it already, they're going to give you accurate information, and then you're going to have an incentive to put them in your document. They're going to have an incentive to give you accurate information. Okay, now, one thing that you can do is a written interview. I know I like to do audio interviews, and you can record and interview and transcribe somebody, but maybe you don't like to do that. But again, here's something that I have done and it works very well. All you have to do is give someone a written interview format. Some people are going to want to do this because, number one, then that means they don't have to get on the phone with you. Number two, they don't have to talk to you. Number three, they don't have to feel like they're going to be on video. They're going to get dressed up, and they can do this fairly quickly. And again, not everybody's going to want to do this, but some people will. You want to give everybody the option, especially if you want the information and the content they can provide for you, you want them to write it in. Right? And you can do that very easily by just sending them an interview that they're going to write in, type in, and email you back. Again, very simple. And if that's what they want to do, if that's the way you're going to be able to get them to give you the information, you're going to get it on a timely basis, do that. Give them that option. Now, of course, you can do an audio interview. You can do a video interview. And those are going to be, I mean, just traditionally, you're going to do those on Skype. You're going to do those whatever your communication software is. But the most effective, if you're adding to text, is going to be to see if you can get someone to respond to questions in writing. That is an easy thing to do because all they have to do is respond to your email. Right? Again, these are things I know that you know already, but I needed to just kind of make sure that it's said, that it's in place, because it is an easy way to turn written PLR into something entirely different and to turn it into something high quality so that you're not just regurgitating something that you bought from someone who, again, may or may not be necessarily be able to communicate the point in your niche that you want to create, that you want to communicate. Right now, I want to talk a little bit about making it easy for the individual now. I'm going to show you something that is really old school right now. Right? And I don't even know, and I'm pretty sure that they still do it. How many of you all have ever heard of this old program by Armin Morin called Audio Generator? How many of you all have heard of that website? Well, Audio Generator does this. Audio Generator has what allows you to do what are called audio testimonials, right? Audio testimonials. So in other words, you can give someone a number, and all they've got to do is they've got to call that number, and you will have the recording recorded online, right? So you don't have to be there. They can do it on their own time. And this is what I like about this. Now, again, Audio Generator is going to be pretty pricey. There's a 21-day trial. But again, it is extremely effective for this kind of thing. What you're going to do is set up a number, and you're going to give that person the number to call. You're going to give them the questions to answer, and then they're just going to talk right into the recording. And then probably in about, I don't know, maybe take a half day, you're going to have a recording that you can use in order to create, again, original content that you can add to your text content. Now, again, the reason that you do this is because some people do not want to be interviewed. Some people do not mind giving you audio, but some people don't want to be there when you're there. They're just going to have to do it when they do it, right? Let's see, Jim's asking, okay, so what does audio generator do and what's the approximate monthly cost? Okay, what our audio generator is mainly meant to do is to allow you to put audio testimonials on your website. But one of the things that you can do is that you can have people record the answers to your questions, and you can have them online. I think you could do unlimited MP3s. Now, this is a really old website. It's a really old program. It's been around probably over 10 years. However, I have not seen anything that does what it does. Now, there's probably a cheaper way to do this. I think it's $29.99 a month, so it's a little pricey. No, you can't. Jim's asking if you can do interviews. I don't think you can do interviews with this. In other words, you can't be on it and talking and then they're talking. I think the way it works is that you're going to give that person a number, and they're going to talk into a recording, and that recording is going to be online for you to be able to download and use. Right. So if you don't mind them kind of giving a monologue, then I think it's possible. But if you're going to do an interview where you're going to be talking and you're going to have dialogue, then this is not going to be the thing that'll do that. Right? Great question. Maybe a list of questions. You could do that, right? You could do that. I think there's a free trial to Audio Generator, right? There's a free trial to it, so you can try it out and see if it meets your needs. But again, I'm saying that what you could do with this is that if you can't get someone to interview with you and they don't want to write because that's just too much of a hassle, but they don't want to necessarily coordinate their schedule with you, you could give them the option of just being able to talk into Audio Generator. Right now, again, there are probably some easier ways to do that. There might be cheaper ways to do that, but if you can find something that'll do this very same thing, that'll be an advantageous way to add to your content. Okay. Now, again, probably what's going to be, again, probably the second most effective thing that you can do is to create an outline and a sentence outline, and then to deliver a training. Right? Because what you're going to be able to do then, and obviously what you're going to do with the training is you're going to then transcribe your training. But here's what that does in terms of text. You are then going to be creating original content, and it's going to be on topic. Right? So you're going to give yourself an outline. I'm going to show you how to create that outline here in a minute. It's very simple. And you're going to talk between the points. Right? You're going to do just what I'm doing. So for example, what I'm doing right now is I'm talking through the points. Here, this is an outline, right? And as I create, as you see the outline points come up, I'm talking between each point. I could take this this training that I'm doing, I can then transcribe that, and this is original content, right? That content is then going to be different than if I had taken PLR and I had done, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say that I had 8 paragraphs and I got all this from PLR. But I'm creating original content with that PLR by being on the training because I can talk between the points. Does that make sense? Well, again, very easy to create original content with your PLR. You use your PLR because the PLR is basically the research, right? You're leveraging somebody else's work who did research. I may not want to do all the research there is on Facebook ads or the history of Facebook or YouTube, but I can talk about the context for Facebook ads in my niche if I have an outline. And that's the way that you want to use PLR if you're going to create original content by doing your own training. Now, you can invite people to the training, which I suggest you do. And the reason, of course, is that you're going to have more energy. You're going to be trying to communicate with people, and you'll do a better job, right? But yeah, you can probably do it and not have anybody else on the line. You can still create original content just by doing the training. I don't think you can do it as effectively if you're not in front of somebody. You just will tend not to do your very best job on the presentation. All right, so any questions about that? Okay, so Jim's question is, yeah, there's a lot more energy knowing people are watching you and keeping you focused. It is, right? That if not, your mind will wander and you'll think, maybe I'll do this another time. But if you have people that are going to be there, they're going to be listening to you, you're going to try to make sure that you're clear. You're going to make sure that you're trying to get the information right. All right, so now, okay, so when we talk about repurposing text, obviously, we can take anything that we get and turn it into another document. Now, the most important thing is that you know the rights, right? You have to know the rights to what you're buying. So, for example, in some cases, if you get master resale rights, you may not be able to change the document, right? So, in other words, master resale rights is specific. Sometimes those master resale rights products do not give you the option of changing it into another product. In other words, you're buying the right to resell that product as is. So you need to make sure you have the rights in order to do that. And again, typically master resale rights does not necessarily mean, I need to make sure this is clear, does not necessarily mean you have the right to change it, to turn it into another product and make yourself the author. Right, so make sure before you start that process that you do not have master resale rights and not PLR rights. PLR rights typically means that you can make yourself the author. However, in many cases, when you get PLR rights, you will not get the opportunity or you will not get the rights to sell the option of selling. In other words, you will not get master resale rights along with PLR rights. So if you get both, make sure you have both. Typically, if you get one, you might not get the other one. You need to make sure. So you get PLR. That means you can change it. That means you can sell to an end user. Doesn't mean you can sell to a seller, right? If you're going to pass on PLR rights, that's going to be specific inside of the rights document. Okay, is everybody clear about that? So again, before you start down the process, clarify the rights. Before you buy something and you think, okay, I'm going to use this, I'm going to change it into whatever I want, you need to clarify the rights if you can and get the certificate so that you know you're going to be able to do what you want to do with it. That makes sense. Put the number 5 in the question box, right? Clarify the rights, right? Know what the rights are before you get something. Know what the rights are before you start using it. Now, if you have master resale rights, that doesn't mean that all is lost. If you have PLR rights, it doesn't mean it's all is lost. All's lost, you're going to have to do a workaround. Right, so one of the first things we're going to be able to do, right, is turn our text into an outline. So let's do that here. Let's get a document here. All right, so here's some articles on virtual reality, right? How virtual reality makes life more interesting. Right now, these are documents that we created, right? These aren't ones that I bought, but it's the same thing, right? It's a PLR article. So what would I do with this, right? What am I going to do with this in order to make it usable? Well, one of the things I'm going to do first is I'm just going to go to the outline view, right? Does everybody see that? So I'm going to go to the outline view. Now, what does the outline view do for me? Well, what you're going to notice right here is that each of these points is going to be considered to be an outline point. And if I want to separate out some of the content into outline points, I can do that. So for example, I might do this one, turn that into an outline point. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to resave this. I'm going to resave this as on my desktop. Or let's do it in downloads. And let's call this VR. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to exit this document. So I'm just going to close that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up PowerPoint. I'm going to open up a PowerPoint document here. I'm going to open up a blank presentation, right? And I'm now going to go to the view section, I'm now going to go to my slide master view. Let's get this out of the way. And basically what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to pull this middle box down to the middle. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to center this. And we're going to take these out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go back to the normal view. I'm now going to add in new slides. I'm going to get my slides from the outline. I'm going to go to the outline I just created. We're going to insert these documents. See, I think I just got the title here. Let's see. Let's open this back. All right, we're going to save this again. Close the outline view. And let's go back and do that again. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, so what we did that we shouldn't have done there was we had the title in there, the title line in there, because this is what we actually want, right? And so now what we have here is either we have a script or we have something that we can work with inside of Microsoft PowerPoint. What I need to do is go to View. I need to go to the Slide Master. And remember, what I need to do first is I need to go to the very top master slide. When I go to the top master slide, what I need to do is to bring this title box down to the middle or wherever I want the text to appear. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this other box, and then I'm going to go inside of this box, and I'm going to make sure this gets centered. Right, so now what I want is because I've changed this master slide, when I bring this text in, it's going to render into the PowerPoint document here in the middle inside of this space. And it's going to do that according to the outline I created. Right, so now all I need to do is I need to go back to View. I need to go back to the normal view. And now what I need to do is I need to get my slides from the outline. Right, so I get slides from outline. I go to VR1. And then my slides happen so that all that text is going to be there in the middle. Okay, so we've turned our outline into a presentation now. And so now what we're going to do is we can now use this outline as what? We can use this outline as a webinar, right? Because basically what we've done is we've taken the best information from the actual document, and we have turned this now into an outline. And so now when we're doing our webinar, what we can do is we can then take this slide, we can add images to each one according to the theme, right? We can customize each slide, and then we're just going to talk through our points. You know, if you really feel like, okay, you know what, I'm not a good extemporaneous speaker, right? You don't like necessarily doing that. You don't talking off the cuff. You're just going to create notes, right? And so you're going to add in your notes here. And so basically, you'll have your notes while you're scrolling through. If you need a bigger space, you can size this up and write lots of notes here. So you can put as many notes there as you need, right? On each slide. You can do that each period, right? You can do that for each one. Okay, so basically now what we have here is that we have a presentation, right? We have a presentation. That's part of the process. And we can use this presentation as a webinar. We can use it as some other things. So let's talk about that. We can do this as a handout, right? Let's see, Jim's question is, are the notes visible during the webinar which uses the slides? No, they are not. So the notes will not be visible, right? Those notes will only be visible to you. Right, so for example, let me show you something here. I'm going to switch the presenter view and the slideshow. Okay, so here's where the notes would show up while you're presenting. Now, I think this is going to be Office 2016. I don't think that Office 2013 has this. Office 2016 has this, and so you'll have this area where here's the slide that you're working on, or here's the point you're working on, and then this one has the next animation, and then your notes are going to be here. So you can present from this screen, right? If you have two screens, and your audience will see what's going to be here. Yeah. So no, with GoToWebinar, they will not see the notes. They will not see the notes with GoToWebinar. The only way they're going to see the notes is if you show them this screen. But what you're going to do is, if you're using two screens, you're going to go up here to the top, click on this down arrow that says Display Settings, and then I'm going to click Swap Presenter View and Slideshow. Right? And then I'm going to then switch back. Yeah, now if you're actually going to do webinars and presentations, you'd probably want to have a second monitor. I would almost, and these days, I think that there is a monitor. They make, let me show you this. They make HD monitors now that are portable. So for example, I'm going to write in here, I think I can find this, HD 1080p portable monitor. Right, so you can buy, yeah, so now this is going to set you back, this one will set you back $139. This is going to set you back $180, right? Both get good reviews. So basically, these are portable. You can take them anywhere, and you can then you can have an HD monitor. Right, yeah. So if you're just looking for something small and portable that's going to be HD, they do make them. Okay, so now one of the really cool things you can do is you can turn your presentation into a video. Now in the past, I've done this in courses where we've talked about, you know, how you would turn this into some kind of video. But there's a video creator called My Simple Show, British company. Okay, so in My Simple Show, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new video. And we're going to call this new video. And the thing about My Simple Show is that we can upload a PowerPoint file to create an animated video, right? So that's what makes this video creator a little different, right? So we can import a PowerPoint. So basically, let's go here and let's upload a PowerPoint. And we don't have to be tied to the one we just created, but I'd say, am I already here? Okay, so then My Simple Show is going to import a PowerPoint. And it's going to go through a process, and I think it's just kind of telling me what it's doing right now, so we're just going to skip that part. And basically, what it does is it takes your slides, right? You can edit the slides, obviously, and it tries to create pictures based on what you did. So then we click Choose Visuals. And it's going to try to create something for you. Right, so we're going to click That's It for now. And so basically, look, it does do a little something. Now, you may have to do some and make some additions to it, but you've got the beginnings now of an animated video, right? And all we did was create a PowerPoint presentation. Then we uploaded that PowerPoint presentation. Now, again, there's a learning curve, a little learning curve to My Simple Show. But if you're the kind of person you create a lot of PowerPoint, I do, right? I probably create a lot of PowerPoint. I can really use this, right? And then it tries to it'll give you a voiceover, right? It'll give you its own voiceover. I mean, you obviously would not use that if you're selling it, but again, right? It's not going to be perfect, but it is something. All right. Any questions on My Simple Show? You can check out mysimpleshow.com. If you're using PowerPoint, it's one way of being able to take your PowerPoint and then turn it into an animated video. Now, again, we can do a longer process than this. No, so the question is, did I have those graphics in my slide presentation? No, My Simple Show makes a guess based on the words in your PowerPoint. So it looks at the words in your PowerPoint and it makes a guess and puts the graphics in based on what you have in your slide presentation. So I didn't do anything to the graphics. It put the graphics in by itself. Let me see. So how much is My Simple Show? I don't know. Let me see the answer to that. Let's see. Pricing. Okay, so it's not cheap. $129 a month and $4.99 a month. It's really gone up a lot. Right? It used to be a lot cheaper than this. But that is My Simple Show. All right, any questions? Okay. Okay, because if you try to do this, you can do it with another animated video creator, but it's going to be a little time consuming. And basically, you're going to use your sentence outline to create the voiceover. So for example, let's say that we're going to decide to do our own voiceover, right? So how am I going to do the voiceover? Well, I'm not going to worry about the notes. I'm going to narrate this, right? I'm going to narrate this entire script. Once I narrate this entire script, I'm going to have an MP3. I'm going to use that MP3 to upload to Sparkle. So for example, let's say that I narrated that script and then I opened up Video Scribe. And let's see, I'm going to do this off screen here. Okay, so when I actually create a new video, right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add in the audio that I just created. So let's say I created a voiceover. I'm going to import that MP3 into my Scribe. Okay, so now I have an MP3. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the scenes in the video based on each slide. So I'm going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13 scenes, right? Or I might create one scene for every 2 slides. But I'm going to do it based on what? I'm going to do it based on these words, right? So, for example, maybe virtual reality is exactly what it sounds like it is, right? So maybe I might go to Sparkle and I might want to put in here something that represents sound. right? See if I can do this. Okay, so let's see. While that loads up, I'm just going to come back here. Let's explain the process. And what I'm going to do is for each of these scenes, I'm going to create pictures. And then my job in Sparkles is going to be to go back and match the timing, right? So I'm going to try to match the timing to the pictures that I create. So again, this is a little more work than My Simple Show. My Simple Show is obviously easier because it reads your slides and it tries to create a picture for you. But again, this works just as well. It's just going to take longer. So I would say, I might put a picture in here based on sound, right? I might have it draw. And then it's going to play.
I know that you've learned this material and you really...
Right, so basically I'm going to create my pictures based on the slide presentation that I do. The hard work in this is going to be to go back and then match up the timing with the pictures that I draw, right? And that's going to be the time-consuming part to creating a video in this way, but you do actually get an accurate video because we've already created the script from our PLR. Okay, so Jim's question is, what's the relationship of Sparkle to Video Scribe? Oh, no, it's just what they call it. So Sparkle is the name of the company. Video Scribe is the name of the product. Right, it's just Sparkle Video Scribe.